I was invited to the Lady Ballers movie premiere and it was actually really funny. And if you're unfamiliar with what Lady Ballers is, we're gonna watch the movie trailer together. We're also gonna react to some initial reactions of the trailer, and then we're gonna dive into my full review of the movie.
In a world where women's sports is being transformed, the
Literally.
Daily Wire calls foul with the most triggering comedy of the year.
What's crazy is that that's actually real. This is something that's actually happening.
Guys, this is serious. Sports can be your pathway to a better life.
Well, like yours?
Please don't steal my catalytic converter again. Winning matters. It's the key ingredient in becoming a winner.
Maybe you should try it sometime. Are you gonna move?
I am not.
Let's cut to the chase. I know you're not a woman.
She is bad. Like, when I saw her on screen, I was like, who is this? She's a baddie.
Hey, you don't know how he identifies.
If you can beat them,
What do you know about the U.S. Opens for the Global Games?
You want us to compete as women. $5,000 prizes.
Glover says you were a great coach back in the day.
That was definitely Matt Walsh.
This is the way the world is now. My 8-year-old daughter told me all about it. So, a guy can become a girl with no physical changes at all.
Oh, that's called gender fluid.
See, and we're gonna get into this later, but I think it's so crazy how this movie isn't even fake. Like, it's actually real. Like, this is something, we've seen it on this channel. We've talked about, like, the 8-year-old girls that are, like, explaining the pronouns and demi-boy, demi-girl, all the different things.
All right, tell them again. Period, Pooh. Period.
Like, this isn't a parody. It's real. It's crazy.
A woman on the court and a man in the bedroom. I can't believe it. Nice.
You mean when you're sleeping?
Yes. Coach,
Alex,
we could play basketball.
We'd have to get the whole team back together.
it's time
we're in.
I'm in.
I'm in.
to play.
Lady Ballers. Man up.
Stupid. It's
Like a
stupid.
girl.
That's right. I'm with her. This is my truth.
From heroes
Day one of being a girl athlete. I love being a girl.
The
to
shade.
sheroes.
We could dominate every woman's sport. Running, swimming, soccer. I said sport, Felix!
It's ladies basketball, boys. Nobody watches.
Excuse me. Are these seats open?
Never mind.
Getting dunks.
Ted Cruz.
And tucking trunks.
No, she didn't. That's the biggest I've ever seen on a lady.
I don't care.
Lady Ballers.
One can even be trans age now, which provides Sheelix with a wonderful opportunity to relive all the experiences that she missed out on in school.
Streaming exclusively on Daily Wire Plus December 1st.
So that was a trailer for Lady Ballers. It's a movie about 4 male athletes who decide to transition into women and dominate women's sports. That's the premise of the movie. It's actually really funny. But that trailer came out and people were not fond of it at all. So we're gonna get into some reactions of that.
Hey, you want to see a bunch of transphobic trash real quick?
Where women's sports is being transformed. The
The
Daily
irony.
Wire calls foul with the most triggering comedy of the year.
This is just a reminder that you're currently watching toxic, straight, cis white men.
But they're saying they're trans, so isn't the whole premise to just respect what they're saying? How are you gonna call them cis white men? I mean, I get it's a movie and they're portraying a character, but like if we look at the mirror, what are you? That's the whole point of the movie, is to highlight people like you.
Join them.
This is the way the world is now. My 8-year-old daughter told me all about it.
Introducing gender fluid phobia.
With no physical changes.
Gender fluid phobia. Listen, most people don't even care what your personality is like. That's fine. People are just more concerned about the science and the fact of the matter. There's 2 genitalia. There is, some nuance and middle ground for intersex, but that is a medical condition. There's male and female. That's pretty much it. How your personality is, go for it. You do you, but
Welcome to the future.
So I can be a woman on the court and a man in the bedroom. I can't believe it. Nice!
Way to paint us like villains.
Yes.
Like we're trying to sneak into women's spaces.
Some of y'all are.
Story just coming in here at 8 o'clock. New federal sex crime charges for a man dressed in a wig to record minors in a women's bathroom.
There are quite a few stories of men literally just putting on a wig and then going into female locker rooms so they can have a peep show. So it is a thing that's happening.
I'd like to talk about something that came across my YouTube. Daily Wire is making a movie. Oh, wait, hold on. Before continuing, my views do not represent the Department of Defense as a whole, nor are they political. This is specifically a social issue. This is ridiculous. The premise of this movie is that a bunch of 30-year-old divorcees decide that they're going to enter women's sports by identifying as women, and by the looks of the trailer, just dominating women's sports. A couple of things. One, the movie literally calls itself a triggering comedy.
It's a joke. Because literally you're triggered right now. It's a triggering comedy because it's going to piss off people like you. So it worked. It was a joke.
In the trailer, they take advice from an 8-year-old, further implementing how terrified these are of talking to professionals.
Well, that's because they're being taught that in schools, and that this is a real thing that people's children are coming home with. Like, oh, what's this pronoun mean? What are these different genders? Maybe I'm a girl, maybe I'm a boy. Like, these are things that are actually happening for the average American. My review. All right, so now we're gonna get into my review of the movie. If you don't want any spoilers, you can skip ahead to the next section of the video. I'm not gonna give away too much, but I'm gonna talk about some key things that stood out from this movie. It is very early 2000s comedy. It felt like a real movie, just a real old school comedy, very reminiscent of Joanna Man, if you haven't seen that movie.
It's got only one option: to play as a woman.
I'm here!
Joanna Man.
It's the same premise where a NBA player decides to leave the NBA and go to the WNBA and become a woman and, you know, really dominate the sports over there. And this was done in the early 2000s. Again, much like the other movie called The Ringer.
We are gonna fix the Special Olympics.
Jeffy, highly functioning, developmentally disabled.
All right, look at you.
Which was a main character pretending to be disabled in the Special Olympics. So, I mean, the early 2000s comedies were absolutely gold. They poked fun at everything and everyone. Nothing was off limits at all. They talked about everything. And really, we haven't seen anything like this in a very long time. And that's how I felt watching the movie. Something that I thought was really cool was how they addressed vital topics and questions within the movie. Even though it was a comedy, they did have serious moments. One of them was the main character's daughter. She wanted to become trans. She's seeing all the men dominate men's sports, and this little girl's like, hey daddy, I want to be a boy. And so it was really cool to see that dad, who was like coaching the team that's pretending to be women, sit back and have to like face reality with his own daughter and be like, shit, how could I handle the situation? And he handled it with grace. He really just sat down and told the daughter, like, look, yes, these men are dominating sports, but this world is nothing without women. Women is the glue to a lot of the nations that exist today. They are the most nurturing, they are the most educating, they are the most supportive, they are the most guiding. This world would be nothing without women, and they made sure to highlight that aspect very, very well. And he just told the little girl, like, listen, like, you're not a boy, you are a girl, and there's a lot of things that women can do that men can't, and there are a lot of things that women are very successful at and can achieve. And I do appreciate that they mentioned that in this movie. Additionally, one of the basketball players that was pretending to be a woman actually felt like a woman. It was like, hey, coach, I know this was all a joke in the beginning, but I really do feel like I'm living my truth and I am trans. And you saw that progression throughout the movie. They never really addressed it, but as a viewer, you could see that he's low-key taking it all very seriously. And even then, that conversation was really sweet too, because the coach was just like, hey man, I understand you're going through these issues of gender identity and, you know, you feel like you're going through gender dysphoria. We can go to therapy for that. We can talk about it. But at the end of the day, I personally just feel like you're a lost man in this world that has a lot of different excuses to be certain things. When at the end of the day, you are just lost, you're lonely, you need friends, you need guidance, and that's okay. And we're here to help you with that. And also at the end of the day, you're not a woman. And the guy just goes, okay, well, I appreciate that, but how are you going to tell me I'm not a woman? Like, what makes you say that? And then the coach kicks him in the balls. So that's how they solve that, really just with biology, saying, hey, you are a man, you are going through things, we can talk about it all day long, but at the end of the day, you are a man. So those are two moments that really stood out to me. Like I said before, it was a true comedy. There were some funny things. Of course, there were some corny jokes. There's not much I really didn't like about the movie. I didn't understand Matt Walsh's part, especially towards the end. I was a little confused by that. And even like one of the basketball players, like his whole premise of how he went off the grid. You'll see that in the movie, but I was a little confused by that. But all in all, it was a really funny movie. I think everybody should give it a watch. It was just refreshing to see an actual comedy movie because it's something that we haven't seen in a very long time. The irony. Honestly, what's crazy to me is the people that are upset at this movie. Why are you upset? Like, yeah, I get it. It's a fake movie with like fake characters, but it's actually a real movie. Like, it's real things that are going on in this nation. We've got men transitioning into women by just being every stereotype of what a woman is.
Day one of being a girl, and I have already cried 3 times. I wrote a scathing email that I did not send. I ordered dresses online that I couldn't afford. And then when someone asked me how I was, I said, I'm fine. When I wasn't fine.
We've got men transitioning into women claiming to get periods.
The arrogance for cis women to believe that they own periods, that they own womanhood. You don't.
We've got men transitioning into women, joining sports and cracking skulls.
Winner by knockout, Alan Queen Swords.
And we have men transitioning into 6-year-old little girls.
Adopted mommy and daddy who are totally comfortable with me being a little girl.
I identify as a 6-year-old. Well, guess what? It doesn't matter. And we will show you what transphobia and what trans support look like. Become a trans ally.
So are you just mad at this movie highlighting reality? Because this is actually a thing that is happening and going on in our world. And with all things comedy, the whole goal is to poke fun at our culture and at the things actually going on and affecting this nation. The state of comedy.
When was the last time you saw a good comedy movie? And can you make a good comedy movie anymore? Or have they made it so dangerous in terms of like being canceled that comedy movies are no longer something you can do?
The past few years, we've all seen comedy be attacked by the woke mob and this person's canceled or this is too offensive. You can't say this, you can't do that. And we're all getting tired of it low key. It really doesn't matter what you do or say. Everyone's getting canceled and it doesn't matter. I mean, hell, I get canceled for being racist and homophobic. But again, like I always say, I'm black and I'm gay, so how can that even be the case? It reminds me of when Dave Chappelle was getting canceled for being transphobic. The whole time he had a whole segment in his show dedicated to one of his trans friends. It doesn't make any sense. Like mentioned before, comedy is made to poke fun at culture. I feel like there's an underlying consensus for all of us that we just want to laugh. Like we missed it. We missed the real comedy. And thankfully, that's what I got from watching Lady Ballers. And I'm not paid to say any of this. It's just how I really felt. Joke after joke, scene after scene. It was refreshing to see people getting made fun of. It's for the sole reasons why I'm personally in love with shows like South Park and Family Guy, because they poke fun at everything. Nothing is off limits. They have a dark humor in there. They cast jokes and they kind of they go down to like the reality of how a lot of people feel, where like a lot of people just don't say it, but we all see it and we want to say it, but some of us can't. It's like it actually is messed up. And that's how I felt about this movie, because as much as accepting we want to be of trans people, a lot of my viewers, we're not hateful people, is that we also want to respect reality and the situation at hand, and that, you know, this is a thing that's happening of men going into female sports and absolutely crushing it. I'm happy that Daily Wire is bringing this comedy back, and I'm sure that this is only the beginning for them. Opinion on Daily Wire. With this film being from Daily Wire, that's a main reason why this film has gotten a lot of criticism, because of the organization that it's coming from. But the more I'm invited to their events, the more I watch their content, the more I'm realizing it's just and a non-woke kind of like American platform. And I don't mean like yee like America values, no. I mean like the old American values, like just loving our nation, loving our country, poking fun at things, common sense, like just going back to how things used to be before all this woke nonsense. And again, like I don't agree with everything that their personalities say, and even their own personalities don't agree with other personalities say. Hello, Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro. What I once saw as a, you know, far-right company, I'm learning is really just a non-woke company. It honestly reminds me of that graphic where people say, oh, I didn't leave the left left me. This one, like Daily Wire is on the right, but like not really, because some of the pundits get political, but all in all, when you look at the content, Bent Key, their kids' content, is just an accessible, American-loving, freedom-loving media company. So if you're on the fence about Daily Wire, there's truly no reason to be. They're not that bad. What I honestly used to think it was a giant think tank, but the more I pay attention to how their personalities interact with each other, they do have varying views and beliefs. It's just really a non-woke company. And if you want to watch Lady Ballers yourself, the link is in the description below. Again, this is not like sponsored or anything. It just genuinely was a funny movie to me. Got invited to the premiere. thankful for that, and I had a good time. So those are my thoughts on the movie. If you have watched the movie, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and let me know in your comments below if you resonate with that too, if you kind of missing this old comedy style of just poking fun at different things in our society and getting to the underlying truth of certain matters at hand. Again, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton, and I will be making a video very soon highlighting the issue of trans women in sports, so be sure to keep a lookout for that. As always, thank you guys so much for your support. It just means the world to me. I'm very thankful for y'all to be here, and remember, you can do anything you put your mind to on this planet. All it takes is determination, tunnel vision, and for you to not be distracted by anyone else, their goals, their dreams. Literally just focus on you. Do what you need to do to achieve your goals and dreams. Focus on that and just go. I say that at the end of every video because I truly believe the more we focus on ourselves, the more we focus on becoming a better version of ourselves, the faster this world will get better. Because how are we so busy trying to be, again, like I always say, Captain Save-A-Ho for everyone else but ourselves? You're here online being a political activist, but your room is a mess. Your bank account is a mess. Your bills are a mess. Get it together. So with that being said, much love, and I will see you in the next video. Deuces.